recording this call now that we've talked about 2E mindset and all the amazing benefits, but I want Jamie to have as much time as possible. So let me just throw this out here. Let me give her an introduction, and she's just going to roll with this, okay? So thank you for popping on, and so excited for her to share her little nuggets with you. So Jamie is a 7-star diamond coach. She's 9-star diamond qual. She's pretty much set up to go way farther than that, was what we've been talking about, which is incredible. She's a 4-time elite coach. Correct me if I'm wrong. 4-time? Okay, awesome. She is the founder of Team Wild Rain. If you follow her on social media, you will know that she's big into yoga. She's a dog and a cat mom, a former teacher. She's married to a gentleman named Jamie. So Jamie Square is what I always think about. And he is an Olympic athlete. I'm not sure the term on it.
These are new coaches.
He's a para-triathlete.
Para-triathlete. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So without further ado, Jamie, if there's anything that I missed, please go ahead and speak it. But why don't you go ahead and go into your topic?
Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited to meet all you ladies. I feel like I didn't get the memo to wear my TBB hat. I want to go to my closet and grab it. I was actually playing with my hair. I turned on my Zoom a minute ago. I'm like, I'm kind of doing something different with my hair today. I kind of look like a poodle. But anyways, I'm excited to meet all of you. It's fun to know that you guys are you all on the West Coast? Yeah? Okay. So I live in Oregon. Anyone in Oregon? Oregon? No? Okay. So, but I met Jamie when I was living in San Diego. So I've moved around a lot at this business. I work closely with my mentor now, Craig, because I moved to Florida for a year with this business. And that was he was my mentor at the time. And I'm like, you're not getting rid of me. Even though I'm moving back to the West Coast. So you guys are so lucky to have Britt. She was just coming in right when I moved to Florida, right? And she had just left Florida. So it's been fun to see. And congrats on your promotion, Brittany. That's huge. I'm so excited about that too. And so, yeah, all of that is true. Those are great. Actually, you guys, I'm going 11-star qualifying tomorrow, which is crazy. Because I haven't built for rank in my first CBC. I have 4 CBCs, and that would be the only thing I would offer up in kind of my Beachbody resume. I have 4 Jamie Sheppards. So I've gone 2-star or 3-star, 2-star, and then my 4th goes diamond tomorrow. But I also built up my husband. He's a diamond, and I managed that. So I've stacked because I realized, and it kind of ties in with the topic, which is why I'm speaking to it now. But I realized quickly that stability feels like this elusive thing. And so in this business, and I had to figure out some things early on in coaching. I've been coaching for 4.5 years. I started in fall of 2013. So when Brett suggested this topic and asked, a couple of us if we could speak, we kind of laughed. We're like, what's that? Leadership stability? That's not a thing. And so it's kind of this gigantic topic that I feel a little unequipped to speak to, but also overly equipped to speak to. I was typing out all the things I wanted to share. I'm like, I'm going to blow their heads off because this is there's so much, but then it's not this cookie cutter. There's not this cookie cutter formula for stability. So I wanted to speak to some themes. But for me, I realized that I had to decide what I wanted out of this business. Truly, that was going to keep me here long term because I was elite in my first full year, but then I was not earning the income I needed. Right. And so I'm like, well, that doesn't feel stable to me. And then my diamond started dropping. I went 6-star diamond elite in 2014. And I was like, well, great, I've arrived. And I'm not saying this to discourage any of you because I know you're at that point where you're probably identifying elite goals. Your probably next level is 5-star. Those are great goals. Go for them. But I also want you to align with, is 5-star elite going to be, is that your destination in life? Is that your end goal? It shouldn't be, and I'm going to kind of go through why. But it can be part of your story. But I want you to be able to really own this and own what you want beyond this year in this business. Because when this year comes and goes, what's next? And so knowing what your end goal is going to be able to help your team grow with you and then create the stability that you need so that you can then help them create stability. Because if you've ever had, so I was a counselor for 12 years, and there's nothing wrong with mental illness. But have you ever met someone that was bipolar, right? I'm using that as like a mental illness because it's by clinically like definition, extreme highs and extreme lows, right? Or ADD, like ADHD, when you got someone who's like super on and then they kind of crash, or like a meth addict, same thing. Like, anything that's got really high highs or really low lows, it's exhausting for them. For you, like it's, if your bank account is really, you get paid once a month. There's a great one. This school counselor, I was paid once a month, and I had a lot of money for like a day. And then 30 days later, I had $0, right? And so like those highs and lows were like defeating. So what I try to teach is like kind of more of that flat line, like that healthy heartbeat. If you think of like a heartbeat monitor and on TV, on Grey's Anatomy, right? Like you want the healthy, like doot, doot, where you're going to see it spike up and down. But like when you see it going up and down like crazy, something's wrong. So in my experience, and because I don't use a lot of shoulds, but what I try to teach my team is like, you want to avoid the high highs and the low lows. Same with like, if you come in and you're like all hot, you're like on fire, super motivated, or you see a new coach come in. Has anyone ever had one of those new coaches? And they're like all over, they want to be in all the trainings. They want to do all the things. They want to like blaze their way as fast as possible. And they like, rock out success star months 1 and 2. And then month 3 comes along and you're like, where did you go? Like, or what happened? Or they get to the third month and then they're like, poof, right? So because the pendulum, if it's too far on one way, then it's going to swing back the other way. So that's kind of going to be like the theme of what I want to share about, is just finding this stability in the pace that you can sustain. Because if you can get your, as I say, your poop in a group, like if you've got this all, like your foundation is solid, then your team is going to know that they can also use you to co-regulate off of. Okay. If and so we're just going to stop there, but I wanted to hear a little bit. I know I asked Brittany to ask you guys, like, what are some of your, and I would prefer, because it's such a mini topic, and actually Brittany, I never asked you how much time we have.
You're good to literally, I would say 45 minutes. So you can go another 30 plus. But I would highly suggest them, if you're going to ask them to unmute themselves and talk to you. Does that work? Or do you want it in the chat?
Yeah, no. I want you guys to unmute and chat. We'll just limit it so that we can, I do have, and I have a presentation I did for Christina Delgado, that there are a couple slides that I want to pull because I think they're good. I wanted to more have a discussion. I told Britt I wasn't going to make PowerPoint, but I was like thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I've got some great visuals. I'm such a visual learner. But to you ladies, do we have any, and Justin, do you, like, what is your biggest fear? Like when you're sitting here thinking about your leadership, your team, and where you feel stable or unstable, like a lot of times instability comes from something that's not going well, or a fear that something might not go well, right? So where is that for you? Who would be willing to share? Go for it, Justin. You don't have to, just unmute and chat.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my phone's messed up. So I know my biggest fear, and I think Yana shares the same fear with me, is when we bring new coaches on, we promise them all of this training and support, which we do as a team have. But I feel like because our training or our onboarding system is so, we're constantly changing it, trying to do something different. Our biggest fear is that we're just letting people down and not giving them the appropriate tools necessary, even though I realize that it's in the back office and they can do it if they need to, but that we're just not giving them the support, and it's just kind of a big hectic ass mess. And it's like, shit, I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to speak to all these in a second, but thank you I'm writing these down. So that's a great thing to be mindful and fearful of, just to be aware of. Who else has got something that they're willing to share? Go ahead, Teresa.
So I think my fear is that how do you go for really big goals like elite and rank advancements and not make it all about yourself? How do you rally a team and not like scare people away because you have these big goals? Like, how do you do that?
Oh, I love that. I've got stuff for all this, but that's so good. Jessica, I'm going to read what you wrote then. The right resources to your coaches to thrive without giving too much and not clearly expressing the coaching opportunity to the right people to find more business builders who really want to change the world with me. Okay, so not having not being able to help the team you do have, but also not being able to kind of pull in the team that's kind of out there waiting for you.
Sorry, they're screaming. I didn't want to add to the chaos, but yeah, just not being able, because I feel like we're constantly, even in our mastermind, I've grown so much from learning from all these other amazing coaches, but I want to still keep it simple because I feel like we overcomplicate things sometimes in coaching, and then we lose a ton of people who could potentially be really good at this. And then, constantly finding how we communicate what we do so that people clearly understand it and see the potential without, I don't know. That's
yeah, no, I hear that completely. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing. Cute baby, by the way. Anyone else have something they want to share? Go for it, Stacey.
Go, Stacey, and then I've got one too.
Okay, sorry. All right, so just real quickly, I have had issues even with me being a coach for, building for 4 years. I've got a good flow and a good feel for people now, but I still feel like I push them away. And maybe it's because I'm too focused on them and I'm not like running the race and like, okay, come with me. And you know what I mean? I just feel like every single time someone is excited and loves it and I'm working with them closely and we're doing stuff, I just feel like I don't know how to build and put goals out there without pushing people away, because with my experience, that feels like that's what's always happened. So that could be something inside of myself from my childhood. I don't know, but I'm like personal development, like a boss up in here. So I don't know what you can do with that, but that's how I feel.
Okay, no, I think that's beautiful. I felt all of these things, you guys. Like all of this is like, does anyone else going, oh yeah, I feel like that too sometimes, is someone sharing, right? Like I think all of these fears we hold inside, and that's when they consume us and they like keep us small, because a lot of these are limiting beliefs and they're not invalid feelings, but a lot of this is stuff you're owning that you don't really necessarily need to, or owning it so much that it's keeping you from working through it. Like it's kind of like paralyzing you in a way. At least that did for me. So I'm going to talk about why I'm a failure. Hold on just a second. Let me pull it open. And then I'm going to come back to this for a minute. I'm going to come back. I wrote these notes down. Oh, so let me check the chat really fast. Similar to Teresa, big wrinkles, see it as selfish. Okay, we will make sure to end on that, because that's I can use the light right now as 9-star qualifying as an example, but and part of me I don't have it all pretty, but so I want you to all hear, because I feel like there's going to be 2 layers to this. There's like how to help you find that stability, okay, and the tools to work through anything that's holding you back, but then also be able to duplicate that and then pay that forward so that your coaches have that can internalize that same lesson. And so a lot of my messaging with my team and as I train is on failure, because I find that with a lot of great success, like I've had a lot of great success, but I've also gotten every single milestone in this business through a heck of a lot of failure, like every single one. So I wasn't a success starter. I've had a ton of cancellations. I've had coaches quit on the day they've enrolled before. Has anyone ever have that happen? Like where they're like all on fire and then they're like, I get the cancellation email like the next morning or even that day, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm so confused. I've had people that were close friends like ghost me after, like it's just, it all happens to all of us, but it doesn't mean that doesn't like suck in the moment. I personally never dropped my rank, but it took me or diamond rank, I should say, but it took me 4 gold dates to hit diamond. Like I didn't hit diamond in this like magical window of time in my first 60 to 90 days. Like I set that goal and I saw coaches who started after me hit it before me. It was kind of in the upswing of 21-day fix. So kind of what you guys are feeling right now with to be mindset, this momentum is what, I don't know if any of you were around when 21-day fix came out, but like it was like just maybe a third of the energy to be mindset has. Like to be mindset's blowing, what I experienced with the 21 Day Fix out of the water. But it took me a long time, you know, to get to my diamond goal. It was a goal I'd set for myself. 2-star diamond, I was like so excited to get there. And then one diamond dropped, and then the other diamond dropped. And I was sitting at diamond, and I had been saying all year, like, I'm going to be a 5-star diamond elite coach. And I met with Doug Moss in California, and he was like, so what does that mean? I'm like, I don't know. I've just been saying it. You know, I've like maybe 3 weeks before the deadline. He's like, I won't ever say something's impossible, but it's looking kind of slim. And I like, he probably knew this, but maybe he didn't. Like, the best way to motivate me is tell me I can't do something. So I was like, well, gauntlet thrown, I'm going to make this happen. But like, I had this moment of defeat that could have been a really pivotal time where I could have been like, okay, this business doesn't work for me. Any of those things. Like when I learned, it was on my last day of my first month before I even learned what Success Starters was. You know, like there was all these like things that can be really defeating, but it's all about the attitude you choose to have about it. Okay. And so I don't want to like over cliche or oversimplify the idea of gratitude, because I know it's talked about a lot, but for me, it was really this life-changing practice that really helped me stop focusing on all the things that weren't going wrong. Because I was raised by a pessimist. Like my mom would say, like, she's a realist, but really like anything that was going wrong, like that was the focal point, right? Rather than looking at like, but you know, and so I kind of was like more of a Pollyanna type attitude, I think, to counterbalance that. But I also was quick to see anything that I could pick apart that was going wrong, usually with myself or my abilities or my inabilities to effectively help people. So I stopped beating myself up with every failure and every setback, though that instability, and reacting to it, because that's what happens. If you start beating yourself up, you're going to react to anything that's not going right, and instead of just staying in your lane and trusting the process. And so these are just some how I chose to look at those failures. Okay, cancellations helps me give energy to people that do want my time. Okay, dropping 2-star was learning that I can't put my goals onto someone else, right? I have to own like this, you know, I have to own those goals in this pace for myself. And when I hit elite and then wasn't making the money I needed to be making to pay my bills, I was like, okay, I need to start understanding the comp plan a little better, understanding how I can build for that freedom financially that I need. Elite was definitely a part of that, but it wasn't like this end all be all that I had built it to be in my mind, you know? So these, and this is a slide I wanted to show you guys, is this is where coaches perceive failure. Okay. And these are all things that have happened to me. And I would be curious to see if you have any of these happen to you, or if coaches on your team, maybe a lot of them. And how many people have you seen hit one of these and then hit the skids in their business and like shrink up and maybe even just quit? Okay. Or even you even lost your own momentum for a while. And I think that that's because we come into this thinking that there's this idea of perfection, that we have to have it all figured out, and it's going to be this easy path that straight. Has everyone seen that graphic where success is like a straight line, but in reality it's like this crazy bowl of spaghetti? Like, we have to be owning that ourselves. Who is, even though you know that, how often do you find yourself going, oh, this should be easier, or why did I not get this right the first time, or I can't believe I screwed that up, right? Or why is Success Club so hard this month? I'm a leader. Like, that's just the process, you guys. And that when you give yourself the grace to like stop making yourself a punching bag, okay, and just push through and anticipate the failure and learn how to like maybe be proactive next time rather than reactive, then you're going to see your stability shift. So does that make sense? Because if you own this, then you can teach your team. One of the first, actually I have a welcome video. My first step with new coaches is they're in my PS page for like a day. Well, I tag them in a welcome video I made that like all my VIP, all discount, all business, but all coaches go in there. And that's their first step, is they watch this little welcome video. And it's just like okay, you did it. Exhale. Now the fun begins. It's just kind of a high energy video. But I tell them in that video, like, you're going to fail. I'm just going to let you know right now, you're going to fail a lot. And I'm going to warn you of that because I don't want you to be freaked out by it. and there are going to be really great, awesome things that happen because it's business and high highs. And then there's going to feel like days that there are low lows. And so I chose to like put that out there from day one with people because I want them having that mindset from day one that that's just part of life. But also that's part of business. But if you think about it, isn't that part of life too? Right? But we come into this thinking like, oh, this should be, or any other job. Have you ever had a job that was all rainbows and butterflies all the time? As a school counselor? No. As a waitress? No. I worked for a really long time in the outdoor ed field, like as a rock climbing instructor and a raft guide and a lot of other fun stuff, which was like best job ever, pays nothing, but it's like dream job. Even that had crappy days, you know? And so nothing is going to ever just be all high all the time. And so people, but yet people come into entrepreneurship not understanding how much personal it feels, right? Isn't your business kind of like your baby? It feels really personal. And so you have to prepare yourself and remind yourself a lot, but also kind of be prepared to be the cheerleader and the champion for your team so that they are equipped for this, because that's like if you're using a rafting analogy, like, or a biking analogy, like you're stable when your paddle's in the water or your bike is moving. Okay. But when you stop, that's when you are going to tip over or your boat flips or whatever. So for me, staying in gratitude and staying prepared to fail. We're doing this Rising Diamonds training, and like yesterday I just had them all repeat this mantra of like, I will run into failure boldly and confidently and courageously. And like just say it out loud, because then it lets go of the vice hold that the fear probably has over you, and also will help like release that fear too. The book Go for No is a really simple, it's like a 1 hour read or even a 1 hour listen to, is a great one to kind of help unparalyze people. I mean, it's specifically about inviting in sales. It's a great one, just as like a quick little rip off the Band-Aid, get over it. But also I think it prepares you mentally for failure as well. So that was kind of my first big tip, is just, like know that failure is going to happen and celebrate those failures. Okay. And like give yourself permission and celebrate those failures publicly with your team once you've worked through it. I don't think you need to like bring them through the emotional muck with you as you're feeling your feelings. You need to cry it out sometimes. You need to like just be there in your feelings, but don't be there too long. And then as you've worked through it, share it so people know that you're not like on a pedestal, because your team will put you on a pedestal. They're going to think that it's going to be super easy for you. And because they just will, because they look up to you, and they're not going to have seen, and a lot of times if they're newer, they're not going to have seen where you started. Okay. And so the more you can tell that story, the better. So rejoice in that, because I do believe that it is going to be part of your like Rocky theme song. Okay. But with that, you also have to know where your end goal is. Like, what is your vision of this business? Whether you've got a strong why. I like to look at it more as like a big picture vision of where you're headed. So like, for example, as I'm talking to these up and coming diamonds or this new group of diamonds, I'm like, is diamond your end goal? I sure as heck hope not. Okay, because that's not going to get you to this big, like there's more in life than being a diamond coach. There's more in this business than being a diamond coach. Just like there's more than being a 5-star diamond coach or an elite coach. There's so much more you can do with that. But so you need to know what that's going to do for your life. What is that goal? What are these goals as a vision? What is this business as a whole? Detach it from the rank. What is it going to bring to you that is going to change your life? Emotionally, with your family, financially, geographically. Like, give yourself permission to go as finite detail of what that vision is going to look like. Okay, give it a year. Like, break it down. Like, what's a year from now? What do I want that to look like? What do 5 years look like? If you have kids, what do you want that life to be like for your kids? If you're not married or have kids yet, like, is that part of your vision? Do you guys want to be able to travel? What are you driving? What are you wearing? What window are you looking out every morning as you drink your coffee? Like, what is the vision that you have if there's no lid to it? And give yourself time and permission to kind of be there, like quiet, whether you journal or you meditate, or you just sit and stare out a window and like daydream. But you have to like go there, okay, and think through and then think through like, what will that mean to you? What will that mean to you and your family when that comes true? I know more, you guys know Moira Kusaba, I'm sure. Top 10 coach. She's a good girlfriend of mine, and she taught me this. We did a training last year, and she was teaching about this vision statement where she wrote down, like, I'm on stage at Summit with Carl. I am a superstar diamond coach. I'm number, I think she even said, she like called it that she was number 5 in the company. Like, she like wrote in that detail. So with that big picture vision, as you write it out, like literally write it out like as if it's already there. Okay. And she reads that to herself every morning. So she's got what she wants for her kids, her husband, their life in Charleston, their life traveling. But then she's also woven in her vision for the accolades, the check marks that she's achieving in this business too, because it should be synchronistic and go together. But notice how it's not just on stage with Summit with Carl, or it's not just top 10 coach, right? Or it's not just, being able to be home with her kids. Let it all be part of this big dream. Because like I said, there's going to be the highs and the lows. And on those low days, the stability is knowing why you're pushing through. If you don't know why you're pushing through and where you're headed, then you're going to stay stuck. And then you're going to lose that momentum. But more importantly, if you don't know where you're headed, your team won't know where they're headed. And how are they going to find the stability in that, right? How are they going to get permission to dream if they haven't seen you dreaming? My upline coach was, even though she was in her first month or two of the business, and I had no idea what anything meant. Like, I didn't know what ranks meant. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know what was possible in this business. But she would paint this picture publicly on social media, this beautiful story. Like, she would share at least once a week of, like, they'd do their evening walk and they'd see this dream home on the corner. And, like, one day she was going to have retired her husband. They were going to be home with their babies, and they were going to buy this dream home. Like, she would tell this beautiful story, and she'd tell it in different ways, but it was like this clear but simple vision, and I had no doubt she would achieve it because she was so clear and bold with it, right? That's the power of positive thinking and, like, manifestation. So know what your end goal is, because when that star diamond drops, or when your diamond coach drops rank or has a hard month or your team stops hitting Success Club or loses some mojo or whatever, right? Whatever those, like, failures are, they're going to happen. You're going to have months where your team's on fire, and you're probably going to have months where your team's like, Bueller, is anyone home? Like, you need to know where you're heading, because if you're just reacting, and I'm going to speak to Justin's comment about, like, always the new trainings, like, stop with the new stuff. Don't be reactive. Pick your lane and stay in it. And that lane is going to take you to your end goal. Okay. Having a mastermind like this is going to be, and I've had a mastermind for 6-star and above for 2 years. We've been together, and I've learned so much. And there's so much coming at me. And in the beginning, I was like, I need to stop what I'm doing and start doing this because this is awesome, right? And I think sometimes my assistant even wants to kill me because I do that with her a lot still, recognition systems. I'm like, this is better than what we're doing. Let's do that. But, like, I had to learn too that that's whiplash. Again, that's those highs and those lows. And my job is to create stability for myself and not be crazy making for me. But also by doing that is I'm not doing crazy making for my team. And there's a way, okay, to stay in your lane, but then start kind of tucking in a lot of these great kernels that you're learning from the wake-up call, from one another, from trial and error. That doesn't mean, like, if you've got a broken wheel, don't, like, fix it. You got to, but if it's working, then don't change it. Or if you haven't given it time to work, it takes a few months for something to flesh out and build momentum. Give it the time that it needs, but don't be reactive, because then you're just going to be, like, giving everyone whiplash, mostly yourself, but your team too. And then they are going to not feel like they have to ground in your stability so that they can be stable, right? And then creating these systems that they can plug into so that they don't also have to feel like they're having to kind of always figure out what's working for them or not. And with that was my next tip for stability is link arms with your leaders. Okay, link arms with your team. We are Team Wild Rain, actually, Brett, for 3.5 years. We are now the Wild Rain Collective. I rebranded last year around right before leadership. We did a shift in my team to be the Wild Rain Collective. One little thing, we changed one word. But it was this message that I sent, and it was part of a conversation I had with my higher level leaders, is like, you know what? I'm done with everyone trying to like pull away. They get to a rank and then they pull their team away and they have to shoulder it all. And they're like running their own calls and they're running their own trainings. And then they feel like they're not ready to lead such a big team. So then they don't want to grow a team because they can't shoulder it all. Or they go through the ups and downs like we all do. And then like what happens to their team below them. And it's just like too much. Like we're stronger together. And then you can take this again, like don't be reactive to this. Like if this doesn't float with how you want to lead your team, then don't do it. But for me, what I found was I find if we can partner and link arms, it's less that I have to do alone. Okay. It's less that they have to do alone. And it's going to benefit our whole tribe if we're just on the same page. Right. And I'm going to help empower my leaders and help them grow at a pace they can sustain if I'm not pushing them out of the nest and making them shoulder all of it alone. Does that make sense? Because I can do one thing, they can do one thing. So I've got systems within my team page, like something called, I call it Leadership Love, where like Monday is a Meet a Coach Monday, and I can share a screenshot so we don't have to go through these in detail, but like Tuesday is a Coach Tip Tuesday. Wednesdays, what are you saying Wednesday? Thursday is, I don't even know. No, Thursday's nothing because it's rank day. But Friday is Shakeology Fact Friday. Like, where leaders can go in and even like a brand new coach at any point, if someone wants to like practice leading or start flexing that leadership muscle, they sign up for something. We have a new sign up in a file every single month and they are sharing, they're leading in the team page. I'll still post usually once a day, but the loudest voices are other people. So that as I've got other coaches emerging, okay, they're growing in their confidence to lead. Their team is seeing them leading in this huge team page of 4-time elite team. That builds confidence in them, right? But then they're not having to like do it all alone. And I do believe that shows like my baby coaches and my discount coaches and everyone else's baby coaches and discount coaches, that leadership isn't just Jamie Sheppard. It doesn't just look like me. It's not this cookie cutter thing that you have to look and sound like this. It can look like Penny, who's lost 200 pounds and is 10 years on me, right? Or Shady, who's barely 25 and is a masseuse and just travels the world. Like it can look like so many different people and different things, walks of life. And for me, I found that is stability. It kind of shows that we're like, we are this tribe and we can kind of, and then it's more fun, and then as I do have coaches, which happens, like leaders that have a team and then they just flip a switch one day and they're like, I don't feel like this anymore. Because they lose sight of their vision or their why, and then what happens to their downline? I'm not connected to them because they've pulled away and they've done their own thing, but if we're all part of the same tribe, it doesn't matter if the person's kind of on their emotional roller coaster because they still have the stability of our team and our team page because we're really tight-knit that way. Does that make sense? So that's kind of how I approach it. It makes it a lot less, for me, a lot less crazy making. I'm not reacting all the time or trying to like frantically go like befriend all of these people or whatever. And then I teach a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And you can screenshot this. I'll just show you the graphic. It's Googleable. But I find that this is something that I try to cultivate intentionally in conversation with my team from the beginning. And we talk about it a lot, and it's something I have to check myself. I have to look at this going, okay, this guy on the right with the fixed mindset, is this the self-talk that I'm saying? Or am I in a place of healthy growth? Am I letting challenges fuel me? Okay. So at leadership a few years ago, John Addison was our keynote speaker. And he said something, and I want you to write this down because it's my favorite quote in the whole world. But he said, if you're not green and growing, you're ripe and rotting. I'll say it again. If you're not green and growing, you're ripe and rotting. You probably heard that before, but I tell myself that it's my mantra to my team. It's my mantra to myself, and it helps fuel me because anytime I get cozy or comfy, okay, that's dangerous. That's like a red flag of like momentum getting lost because that means that I'm not out of my comfort zone. So and it gives you courage because who wants to be rotting? Nobody. So it like gives this visual, this really clear, palpable visual in your mind of like, okay, I gotta keep growing. It's a good thing. There's never like this end goal. As we're on this, we do a leaders call every Saturday morning, and we were talking about like your life is like this big long train journey. And like Diamond is one depot on the train track. 5-star Diamond Elite is going to be a depot on the train track. You know, like whatever you want is going to be these depots on the train track, but that train doesn't go backwards. It shouldn't. If you see a train going backwards, it's usually something's wrong. Like you still keep going forwards. Maybe you stop at the depot for a while and you take a little break, or you go on a tour, you know, but just, you know, you're going to keep moving your train forward, and people might get on and off, but your track is laid. Okay. And that's stability. Okay. And then give yourself permission to give time to the people who are showing up. I believe that's stability too. And that speaks to a couple of you who are saying you might feel like you're too much for some of your coaches, or you might push your goals on them, or whatever. Like, and there's another one. I'm gonna show you the screenshot. It was on, but it was, I don't remember who spoke this. I've got it on the graphic, but if you are, it's called Beating a Dead Horse, and it was so perfect because I don't think I didn't put the credit on this. Okay, so I think it was John Maxwell, because I listen to him a lot. He's a great leadership guru. I learned the most from him. But it was this funny, yeah, it was John Maxwell. It was the book was Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. So again, I do a lot of PD for myself around like growth mindset. So he gave these 10 strategies for dealing with a dead horse. Like legitimately, he was talking about a dead horse. And he was like, this is what people do. What if people did these 10 things, like bought a stronger whip, changed riders, appointed a team to revive the horse, rewrote the standard definition of live horse, declare the horse to be better, faster, and cheaper, or promote the dead horse to a supervisory position. And so, and I share that because I was like, it was just this one of those random aha moments. That dead horse in our business is when we are like trying to force someone to want this that doesn't want this, right? Has anyone been there? Where you're like, no, but you said you wanted this. I know you could do it. I see the potential. Or you are so strong, and, you know, like, you got to just give them the space. And that's where, if your train's going, okay, then you're not going to put all this pressure and the spotlight's not on there. You're not breathing down their neck, and they give the space to own their goals in their time. And they will. They might not choose what you want, okay, or what you're hoping they would choose, but they will. And that's ultimately the goal, right? As a leader, you want people to be, my goal in my business for my team is to make happy people, happy and healthy people. That's all I want. And if they are feeling successful on their terms, then they're happy and healthy, then I'm winning. I'm doing my job as a leader, right? That doesn't mean I'm going to, so if you're giving space to your team to own their goals, to partner with you if they want it, okay, to know that they're important, whether they're a VIP discount coach or they're pushing for top 10 or anywhere in between, you create that space. Okay, you can create that space every day with a message. You can go live in your team. You can do a training on it. You can just give them recognition. I use recognition to make sure people are supported and celebrated where they're at, okay? But it also means I'm not going to shrink my goals. They know where I'm heading, okay? And sometimes you have to get permission to push people. Do I have permission to, like, challenge you right now? Are you open to feedback right now? Would anybody like to partner with me on this big push to 15 star? This is how it would happen. And people will say, oh, no, I don't think I can handle that right now. And then you can unpack if it's a fear or if they just legit need to, like, listen to themselves. But you giving them space to rock their own health journey, if that's where they're at right now, so that they know that it's not like they either have to do it your way or not at all, because they're going to probably pick the not at all. So if you can check that and you're like, yep, I'm being the leader for everyone, okay, and I'm giving space for everyone to be successful on their terms, then you can let go of the fear that you're pushing goals on them, because you're going to see the people rise. And people are going to be excited. The higher you set the bar, they're going to be so fueled by that, you guys. They're going to be like the speed of the leader, speed of the pack. Again, like something I know you've heard, but it's so true. Okay, they're going to do like a fifth of what you do. And John Maxwell, if you love, does anyone love John Maxwell as much as I'm so obsessed with him. Have you heard of his law of the lid? Okay, yeah, the law of the lid. You guys, this has been living proof in my business, because I spent 4.5 years in, and I think it took 2.5 years. It's hard to like think through time now. It all like merges together. But it probably took me 2.5, almost 3 years to let go of my first group of coaches that were going to do here, and they were doing great, but they ended up kind of being cancerous and toxic to me after a while, because it was all like my fault that something wasn't happening, or they would just blame, or they would just cycle in this like around the drain of negativity. I had some leaders like that, but they were good friends of mine, and they started with me in the beginning, so I felt super loyal to them. But I had to like distance myself with that, because it was keeping me, it was limiting my own ability to lead. It was limiting my own healthy and happy and my own joy. And it didn't mean I said like, you're out, you're fired. It just meant that I like didn't give them airtime every day, and I set some boundaries, and I like maybe didn't respond to a message right away, and I let them kind of sit in their poop for a bit while I went and I poured into new people. And I like, and I just kept recruiting. The best thing you can do for your team and your business, that was my last tip for you, is just to keep growing. The solution to every problem in your business always is find more people. And it's not because people are numbers, it's because the new energy and the new growth is going to keep you stable and moving forward, no matter what's going on. If it's income that's struggling, if it's rank that's struggling, if it's momentum and positive energy, all of those things, okay, are going to be solved by new people, new life in your business. That's why Success Club is such a great gauge for that. And that's why I will never stop being excited about Success Club, because it is my thermometer for my team to know, are you growing? Are you bringing in new life? Or otherwise, you're just watering a dead plant. You just are, you know, or beating a dead horse, to go back to what I kind of just shared. And in the best way to inspire someone sometimes is FOMO. And to show them that all the excuses they've got they're holding on to that's holding them back is just blown right out of the water by someone who's 2 months into this business, right? Or they see you running with someone new and they're like, wait, I want that attention. And then use recognition. Recognition is the best source of, and I put some ideas of ways I use recognition to create consistency and stability on my team. Obviously, I do Success Club, recognition. I do a volume leaders every week. Okay. I can, if you guys want, I can send Brittany examples of the kind of what they look like for me. Do leadership ladder recognition. I usually weave that in with volume or Success Club. Recruiting. I'll do recruiting shout out to my team. The new back office is awesome for showing who's recruiting on your team. I'll usually do like one a week or every other week, depending on whatever you want, or even one a month. You can do a little report of the number of people in your organization. And I just do like a cute quote, a cute graphic, like just something from Google Image. And then I just tag the people. And I'm like, who's recruited 1+ coach and brought 2+ coaches in our team, 3+ coaches, 7+ coaches. You know, I just give them a shout out. And the more whatever you celebrate, people are going to know you value. Okay. But then there's people that aren't going to be maybe moving the needle on the business metrics. That's okay. You want to also recognize them and make sure they know, because recognition feels good. It's going to make sure they know that where they're at is okay. Okay, so I have a Transformer Award that goes once a month, and I do an all-call on my team page for before and after pics, your current before and after pics, who's rocking the program, and who's got progress to share. And then I pick 3, and I do a public recognition on them. They get a little Transformer keychain from Amazon, like a little cute little pendant thing, and they are recognized just for being proof the products work. You know, I do a top 10. Now every week publicly, that's like a combo of recruiting, Success Club, and volume that my team goes absolutely bananas about. I'm like, because they're like in the top 10. And then I'll do even like a welcome. Like now Facebook will tell you like how many new people you've had in a week. Have you seen that? If you look on your Facebook group where it says like 12 new people added to your group in the last week or something. You can click, it says welcome them. You click a button and then it puts all their names into a post for you. And you're going to say, so excited to have, Jessica, Alicia, Ashley, Stacy, welcome to the thing. We introduce yourselves. We're so glad to have you. And like a lot of them are like, oh, I'm like here to help with my health and lose some weight, but because they're a discount coach, but then they feel included and welcome. That's recognition, right? So using those things just to create the culture you want that's going to lead your training to your vision. It all goes together. I hope that was helpful a little bit. So I've got a few things. I think a lot of this double dips with things to help your people, okay, with their stability. So John Acuff, if you haven't read Finish, I'm reading that. Or he was our Success Club prize last month, right? So he actually just went live to my team And so we were like, our book club this month is finished anyway. So that was pretty fun. And he ended with this the other day, and I held on to it so tight. He's like, our job is to equip and empower. That's it. Our job is to equip and empower. How simple is that? If you're like, am I equipping and empowering this person? Yes or no? If the answer is no, find a way to turn the answer to a yes. But if the answer is yes, you've done your job as a leader. Okay? Did anyone spoon feed you in this business? Okay? Did anyone like hold your hand or force training down your throat or like handle you with kid gloves? I'm guessing not. Most Star Diamond coaches figured this crap out on their own. Because that's the only way to be autonomous. Nobody comes into this business looking for a mom or looking for a boss or looking to be micromanaged. That is the opposite of what people come into Beachbody for, right? Am I right in that? Is anyone like, no, I want to be handheld? I don't think so. Most leaders don't. So I have to remind myself of that. Like, my job is to, and even Eric Worre, I learned this when I read GoPro. He was like, my job is to make you as independent as possible, as quickly as possible. And I tell my new coaches that in that welcome video. I'm like, my job is to make you independent from me so you feel autonomous and excited and you're creating this thing that you want to create so that then we can partner, and I'm not necessarily like mentoring you. I mean, I'll always be here to mentor you and lead the way. But the more independent you can get, the quicker we can become business partners and not this leader mentee kind of like newbie situation where you're feeling like you have to be, fed by the mama bird. So equip and empower them, and then release the rest. If you're giving them the tools and they're not using them, try to figure out why, encourage them, recognize them, but then let it go, because you can't force someone to want this. Okay? Help them find a pace they can sustain. You need that as well, but be in their business right away. Like, if they're going super hot and they want to do all the things and they're going really, I'm like, help them understand, like, hey, I understand that you're so excited. I'm so excited that you're so excited. But could you keep up this, whatever's going on in your life in a year from now? If you're going at this pace, what will your family and your health be like, right? I have a coach that her quickest, when she's on her ramp up, she's up at 4 a.m. every night. And I see it because I get the notifications and I'm like, girlfriend, you need to go to bed. Like, you're going to get pneumonia again, and I'll be more like directive with that. So help them find a pace that they sustain. It's easier if you've got this solid pace that they can accelerate a little and back off if they need, but it's still not those extreme highs and lows. Blinders up. Okay, help them put blinders up. They want to be my Emerald training we do every month. Great. Finish your coach checklist first. As soon as you're done with your coach checklist, then we'll talk about Emerald training. But help them put their blinders up, or they'll see all the things. I have a new gal who's just been on fire for 6 months, and we had long conversations weekly. Jen, blinders up. Okay, be new right now. It's okay. You're in a heavy learning phase. Don't worry. All that stuff will still be there when your foundation is laid. So help them put their blinders up, because that's going to give them stability. It's going to teach them to find that pace they can sustain, and that they can just trust that this isn't a race. Like, there is not this like get rich. Like, they have to like be all the places and all the things right away. Like, you want them overall success. Again, like, plug them into the team-wide groups, prepare them to fail. And then the only other thing that I didn't really speak to is I group up my new coaches together. I don't have a formal coach basics. I haven't for years. I don't speed food training. If someone wants a formal training on a new coach over last night and I showed her the coach training in the back office, I'm like, if you want like formal step-by-step, do this, do that kind of coach training, do what Kim made in the back office. It's awesome. You're going to have me teaching you action. I'm going to have you in an action place. I don't do formal coach training other than I have a really thorough coach checklist. But what I do is put them in small groups. I call them cohorts. That's what they were called in my grad school. So where they have other new coaches. And then I help those new coaches move through the newness of their first year together, so that when they are feeling the feelings, they know that they're not alone in that, and they relate. When they ask me a question, I have them ask it to the group thread. It's just a little message thread. I'm like, hey, we actually asked this to the group because I know everybody else probably is wondering the same thing, and then I'll answer it for everyone. And then they start answering each other. They also pace set each other. If someone hits Emerald, they're like, oh, she started it after me. I need to like hit Emerald too. Same with Success Club. So, and then also those become like success posses, rather than just one success partner, because what happens when one person falls off or gets negative, then they're like become excuse partners. Then they're giving like this energy, this little group energy. Okay. And other than that, just focus on the joy and have fun with it. And like, you'll rock this. I wanted to show you one thing really fast so you can screenshot it, because I know you guys are probably all pushing for elite. Anybody not pushing for elite? Or does anyone not have that as their goal this year? Has anyone been, okay. So where did it go? Hold on. I made this a long time ago. Okay, so.
And Jamie, when you get done sharing with this one, will you share going towards that goal? I just haven't heard that part yet. Going towards that goal and not making it selfish. You know, like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So I went back, you guys, a couple years ago, and I looked at, so this is what our elite graphics used to look like. And so if you want to look here, I was a brand new baby diamond coach. This was my first elite report. Okay. I had 12 points, and this was February of 2014. So 12 points that year. Okay. This middle one is July, of 2014, and I was still a diamond coach, but I had gone from 12 to 88 points. So that was like right after Summit, and Summit was such a huge Bojo game changer. So between July though, or this was my August report, and the end of the year, I went from 88 to 254 points. Okay. So and I share that because it's not over till it's over. So what I see a lot of people do is they get a little discouraged with like, oh, it's never going to happen. But like, you keep your end goal, like keep that track laid and know. And the way I approach it, and so the way I'm doing this, like, because we do everything team wide, and I've been very intentional and very loud about the culture on my team. I am Sapphire personality and Ruby. Like, I'm here for the tribe. And so we have a lot of fun together. We do a lot of live events together. Like, I just really cultivated a strong team culture of friendship, of support, of camaraderie. I mean, still have to set those boundaries sometimes, but so elite is a team goal, right? And I make sure, like, I don't ever say, like, someone just joined my team and she's like, you know what I've noticed about your team and all your group pictures? You're never in the middle. It was just a weird observation she had made. I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, it's not like the you show. I really like that. And I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I'm sure there's definitely pictures where it was like me in the middle with my team. But I don't see it as like a me show anymore. And I guess that's where, for me, it's not like a me goal. We are an elite team. We are a 4-time elite team. That's a big freaking deal. And when I celebrate that, like, it's like, look what my team did, you guys. Or when I'm talking about elite, they know that it's not something I can achieve alone. They know that. Okay, and they know that it's okay if they don't want to be part of that or not, because I'm just constantly growing. Okay, and I'm staying in control of what I can control, which is me, and the rest, I'm just inviting them on the ride with me. And I'm just making it fun, as much fun as possible. And then if they're owning this with me, then it empowers them to also like shoot for those goals. Like, when I went and I started qualifying a couple weeks ago, like, my graphic, like, Brandy Bots is my up line, and she wanted to do the recognition. I'm like, actually, would you be willing just to do a collage of all my diamonds? Like, because it's not like I'm going 9-star, like, we're going 9-star. I don't have 9 diamonds. Like, they are kicking butt. Like, we had 4 diamonds pop in a day. I'm like, I want this to be a team thing. So the more you make it about everything about your team, okay, everything about the number of people your team is helping. It doesn't hurt that my team is like all white pearls. Like, if you're doing whatever personality test you're doing, we're all the Mother Teresas, right? So really, my team isn't really super driven by status or whatever. They want to know the impact we're making, and they want to know what we're collectively doing as a tribe. So I share that. Like, a lot of times I will match, like, the number of people, like, whatever our total collective success club points are, I'll donate to a charity on behalf of the team, like, for that dollar amount, right? If we collectively earn like 300 success club points or helped 150 people, we'll go donate $150 to a charity or something like that. Like, you don't have to do that every month, but the more you can just kind of infuse it all back into what you guys are collectively doing to change the freaking world, people are going to be so on fire with that vision. But again, it goes back to the beginning, like, what's your vision? Where are you headed? Like, what's your end goal? And you have to be really clear with that with your team. Because if it's like, if all they know is that you want to build your dream home and to buy the dream car and to be home with your kids, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that vision. But where do they live in that? Right? Where are they in that? How can they own that with you? Because they're not living in that home and driving that car. Does that make sense? So as a leader, you want to have this like beautiful shared vision of what you're going to impact and what you're going to do. And when you have that, then your team's going to rally. They're going to be so excited to do this with you. And it's not selfish at all because they love you and they love your team. And that's something you can cultivate every day. If you don't have that on your team, I didn't. I just decided, hey, this is going to be my focus. And your energy goes where your energy flows, where your focus goes. Just focus there. But again, it's like that is just because it works for me doesn't mean that has to be where your path is. Don't be reactive. Just spend some time with all of this and then rock it. Okay, and don't ever let go of that goal. Like, don't ever let go, and because it might not happen this year. But if you keep going, it will happen next year or the year after. I mean, I'm 38 and I just got married last year. We're at my 1-year wedding anniversary. I wasn't really necessarily thinking I ever wanted to get married, but I sure as heck was like for a long time, like, I just don't think I'm like gonna ever find the one. I didn't stop like kissing frogs, right? So like you find your prince, like just everything else. Like you just gotta just trust that God's got a plan. You're here for a reason. And just the more stable your boat is, the more your train is, and you'll get it. So I'm gonna stop talking because I talked for way too long.
Oh, that was so good, though. Let me just ask this. Thank you, ladies, for staying on. I know a couple had to pop off because they had some new prospect calls. But yeah, Ashley, that was freaking gold. So let me just ask you, ladies, do you have a question for Jamie before we let her jump off? Any questions?
Thanks, Stacy.
Ditto on that.
And I'm happy to share anything that you guys need. I'm a visual person, so it's hard for me sometimes when I listen to calls and I'm like, but I don't know what this looks like. So if you want anything, just message to Brittany and I'll happily share it. You're on my team page now, Britt. You're welcome to share anything you see.
You're sweet. Thank you.
My new post checklist. Yes, I can tell you right now, bit.ly.com/get-started-checklist. I'll type it here. I bit.ly everything because it helps me get started checklist. And I realized that looking at it yesterday, I was looking at it and having my assistant, who's also one of my best friends in my lifeblood, but I was like, Allison, like, look at this, like, objectively for me. Like, what are we missing? Because it's a meaty checklist. It's meaty. It's 3 parts. Like, it takes you like a month to get through it. It kind of seems, some people it takes like a day. So I know it's possible, but like, I tell them it's okay. Take as long as you want, but just know that the answers are here. So if you're ever like, what do I do? Where do I go? Where do I look? It's here. Just go back to this one spot. But the only thing I'm missing, I'm going to add this weekend is like, I don't have anything early on about emeralds. And I kind of feel like that I should have that. Like I left it off intentionally at first. So like, I don't want them to feel pressured to be like emerald, but at the same time, I'm doing them a disservice. I know if I'm not like thinking it clear that emerald is something you should probably do right away. So,
but this checklist is gold. Like now that word is in my head because Ashley said it, but it's really, really, really good. A lot of information, but you're absolutely right. Like before I love that you're like, no, if you are ready to get into Emerald Training, do the checklist first so you understand what you're getting into. But I hope all y'all took pages and pages and pages. Like I took over 3 pages. Like, holy crap. So please, I will obviously post a recording of this. You can go back to this time and time again. But any last minute question for Jamie before we let her go? Yes, Alicia, go.
Thank you her so much. This call was like amazing. I took away so many nuggets, and I love what you said about not getting whiplash, because I think like that's something I really struggle with, is being on a call like this with an incredible leader like you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to do all the things. And then there's another call tomorrow and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to do all the things. And oh my gosh, I'm failing at everything. And like, how do you balance those two of like taking nuggets and implementing them and being inspired and motivated by incredible speakers, but then not feeling defeated by what you are or aren't doing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a great question. And go to a gratitude place. Like focus on the stuff that's going really well with your team and just be there. If there are ways you can improve that with any of these nuggets that would be just easy, like slip it in, then do it. Okay, don't go and change everything. Focus on what's going on. But then know, and this is what I do when I goal set every week or even and every month. I'm like, okay, what's not working? Like, what do I need to change? And then I'm like intentional about pulling that information into my world. Okay, and I'm like, okay, I already know. Like right now, my team's not tracking for crap. And I'm like, well, great, because I'm not a tracker. All right, so what do we need to do? We need to be more loud about tracking. And what are other people doing about tracking? Or like 6 months ago, because I've built so deep and it's about volume and I talk about volume, like I don't talk about diamond a lot. So I'm like, okay, well, we should probably talk about diamond a little bit more. So I'm like trying to find better ways to like weave in diamond without making it feel like, cause I was so tired of seeing people hit diamond and then drop and feel discouraged and then like that they were a failure. So it's just knowing where your holes are and then being receptive there. If you like something and it's like not the right time, there's so many times, Alicia, when I'm like on a call and I'm like, this is awesome, my brain's exploding, I just stop listening and I save it. Use the save button on Facebook, make a playlist for yourself on YouTube, whatever, or file it away in a note, like have a section on your notebook where you're like, great ideas. And I have to do this after Summit too. I mean, when I first couple years at Summit, because I would go and like change everything. And I'm like, well, but we were an elite team. What did I really need to change? Like I didn't have to go change everything. So you have to just kind of be like, put up those blinders and just know what you're looking for. Okay. And if it's something that like fires you up, then play with it a little bit, you know, or implement it yourself and see if it's working. I know a lot of times like people like, or one time someone was like, oh, I do my sneak peeks for challenge groups this way. And so I did it and I worked with for myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, this does not work. This does not work for me. I tried it like 3 different ways. I'm like, I'm not going to present this to my team until I figured this out. So those are things that help me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
And so, if you guys want to, so there's 3 sections to that checklist. I will say the second section is like an about me. Again, I used to do that separately. I just kind of put everything in one spot. So the second section is an about me, where I just get more information. And then third section is more in-depth training on like inviting, I don't even remember, social media, things like that. So if you want to get there, feel free to just like fake do the checklist and like fill it out. You won't upset me if I see a bunch of random entries. Like if you want to get to the rest of it. I haven't found a good way to share the whole thing with people. I don't think Google Forms does that very well, but feel free to kind of get to the second and third sections if you're wanting to look at it. Any other questions? You guys good?
Really good. This was really, really, really great. Appreciate your time and your perspective. And, you know, clearly I love how she speaks to how many times she's failed. I mean, I think that's the thing that we need to realize. We're never perfect and it's going to take a lot of trying and tweaking, but I love how she said, every single month when I do my goal setting, I look at what is not working. And if you can course correct sooner, I promise you're going to get on your path where things are going to come together. So I love that you said that. There's a couple other things that I was like, you have a lot of one-liners. Like I literally wrote down like all your little one-liners that I was like, okay, that is amazing. Okay, that is amazing. I'll probably share that with you one day. But yeah, it's really cool. But thank you, ladies, for popping on. I really appreciate your time. I will post the recording very, very soon. But Jamie, thanks again. This was incredible. Thank you. Bye all.